The social media ban is not for children. It's for you. It's for the parents. And that's what people really aren't understanding. Your ability to speak and write freely is your most important right, because without that, you lose all your other rights. The only thing that needs to happen for this kind of scenario is the electricity gets taken out.
Today's guest is Karla Joy Treadway, a serial entrepreneur, marketing strategist, political commentator, and the host of The Sovereign Sphere, one of Canada's top charting independent podcasts with over 200 episodes and an estimated 50,000 to 150,000 listeners per episode. Karla spent over a decade building Karla spent over a decade building the largest yoga and fit. Wow, I cannot talk today. Karla spent a decade building the largest yoga and fitness studio in northwestern Ontario. By 2019, she was preparing to franchise. Then the pandemic hit. And after 18 months of lockdown, she publicly questioned the government's mandates and lost everything. Her business, her community, her friends, and 5,000 followers disappeared in what she calls a massively public cancellation campaign. But instead of disappearing, she taught herself digital marketing, podcasting from scratch, rebuilt her income online in 6 months, and now coaches freedom-minded entrepreneurs on building brands that can't be canceled or shut down. She's run all this from a remote island in Lake of the Woods, where her family lives partially off-grid, boats in the summer, ice roads in the winter, growing their own food, and hunting for their own meat. Today, she's one of the most outspoken independent voices in Canadian politics, a marketing strategist who's helped entrepreneurs build sovereign businesses from scratch, and living proof that you can opt out of the system without opting out of success. Karla, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. What an intro. Thanks.
Yeah. I can't take credit. Like, everybody's like, it's a great intro, and then my AIs are just great. And I praise our robot overlords. So if any of them want to kill us later on, know that I have your interest in mind.
I say please and thank you always with my request, just in case.
Sam Altman is like fisting, damn you for using our water. So before we get anywhere, I have to ask all of my guests this one question. What's a truth in your industry that people do not want to admit?
In the industry of marketing, I mean, that question shifts all the time. The biggest thing right now is everything is different right now. Like I'm changing my business model right now, and there's a lot of people that don't want to address the fact that everything is different, whether that is like the big external things like the economy and how people purchase and spend money or want to take risks in business, or the obvious AI and how that's fundamentally going to change everything. And I see people just continuing on like it's 2019, and that's a huge mistake. Huge.
What's the biggest shift you're seeing right now?
I think the biggest shift is digital burnout. Digital burnout. So, as someone that has run everything from online courses, low ticket memberships, $10,000 programs, $20,000 services, I've seen every kind of consumer, and I just see people excited about things, and then the participation falls off almost immediately. And that makes sense when you're paying like low amounts of money to join something, like you join a school community or something. But I'm seeing it even with big expensive programs, and I think people really got fried over the last few years. So that's a big shift that I'm seeing. So I really discourage people right now to do things like online courses. I'm like, it's gonna be really hard for you.
I feel you on that. I before starting this, I decided to do a few online courses just to feel like I was getting something done. It's like a pat on the back of yourself, being like, I did something, but then you don't go any further with that course. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't actually help you get somewhere.
Mhm.
Is that kind of what you're seeing? Is it's like people are paying for it and not really using the knowledge they're getting out of it?
They don't do it. I mean, I've always loved the group atmosphere, especially with like my old businesses that I used to run, like running a yoga studio. I love to gather people, even in the digital realm. Like I love hosting group experiences. But right now, I have a pause on all of my group programs, and I'm only working with people one to one. And they're people that are already in motion. I know they already know what to do. They're already in it. They're already doing the thing. I have no interest in like cheerleading right now because
Yeah.
a lot of people need cheerleading, and it's not for me.
Very fair. What, so people who have coaching businesses, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that you have to adopt your offer for AI, for digital burnout. You have to pay attention to what the market is doing. It doesn't matter if your particular offer right now has always worked. Things are changing, so that's the first thing you have to acknowledge, like the space that we're in. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful, but it probably means that you have to pivot right now. The second thing that I would say is your offer needs to be incredibly practical and tangible. The people that are doing really well have really tangible, practical offers. So they're in finance, real estate, insurance brokers. They're fitness coaches. They're helping people lose weight. They're doing health labs on people. If you have like this generic, like I'm a life coach, I help people improve their mental health. I'm not saying you can't. You know that Tony Robbins is a life coach. It's going to be very, very difficult though.
I've been interviewing a few people. The last person I just interviewed was a psychedelic therapist, and then a quantum hypnotist, and I'm like, these are different aspects of coaching that I'd never even thought of, but their outcomes are more tangible.
Yeah.
You're working one on one with somebody. You've got you see the progression immediately instead of just, oh, it'll happen down the road. And that's what I think I got into a lot of. I spent a lot of money on those stupid coaches that told me exactly what I already knew, but just needed a cheerleader to get here. So I do want to get into how you came to be. Like, so how did you move to an island in the middle of northern Ontario? Because like
Well,
I hated Ontario. I had to get right out.
yeah, I get it. I'm from the prairies, and then I married a man who's from Lake of the Woods in Kenora, and this part of Ontario is really, really unique. Most people have never explored it. We're 24 hours from Toronto, which is crazy that our province is even that big. So we're nowhere near the city. And I live on a lake here called Lake of the Woods, and it's kind of like living on the ocean. There are almost 15,000 islands. You can like boat from island to island. You can boat all the way into the United States. It's a really interesting, unique place in Canada. And we always lived here for 6 months of the year in the summer months. And for about 15 years, my husband and I moved back and forth across the country. We'd live here for 6 months, and then we actually lived in Whistler, BC for the other 6 months, where he skied and snowmobiled professionally. And that's what allowed us to do that back and forth. And then we had kids. So it made it a little more challenging to be that nomadic. And we picked one place just for school and finances and all the things. And that ended up being Ontario, because it's about 4 times as much money to live in BC as it is in Ontario, which is wild, at least rural Ontario.
I chose Newfoundland, but so I meant so just a little bit of context on me. I live in a small town called Lewisport, Newfoundland. Keep on saying it wrong. Newfoundland. Understand Newfoundland. She's gonna yell at me. But we moved out here after 30 years. I did 30 years in Ontario. I grew up there, raised there, worked for the Ministry of Transportation as a software engineer. Really understood at the end of it how badly set up our government are.
Mm.
How much it is just taking away from everything we have as people. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't be the guy who's trying to fix the system from the inside. I needed to venture out. And now I'm running a podcast and building software and doing tourism coordination. Thankfully, I have a great partner to support me to do all this, because I'm still not making money. Anybody out there want to sponsor me, go right ahead. But what made you take the leap of kind of starting a business? Because I feel like that's something Canadians don't do anymore.
Yeah. So my husband's an entrepreneur too. I mean, there was the skiing industry side of things. Then he has a contracting company as well. And just the nature of our lifestyle, like I loved being uprooted every 6 months and moving. And then in between that too, we traveled a lot. We traveled all over the world. We've taken our kids out of school and like lived in Nicaragua. Like we're always on the go. So I knew whatever I did, it needed to be mine. I could never work for someone else. During those years when we were moving, there wasn't, I didn't have like a huge career during that time because we were just always moving, always changing. So I knew that eventually would always be in like this digital space because I needed to be nomadic. But when I had babies, when my kids were little, we stayed put for a long period of time. And I started, it was called Movement Studio. When we moved to Ontario full time, not just because I wanted a job, but because I really needed community. I actually wanted to live out west, and I had a hard time actually living in Ontario full time. So I decided to start a business, make new friends, do something for the community. We helped First Nation communities. We ran youth programs. We did a lot of really, really cool things at the studio. And I kind of thought it would be my ticket to freedom, my business, my rules. But that reality was shattered during COVID when we were forced to close our doors unjustifiably for almost 2 years. It was insane.
What is something people get wrong about the Freedom Convoy?
So much, so much. So that it was funny. I was speaking out online during that time, and I had my car packed, actually ready to go to Ottawa. I wanted to see this thing, and I got a phone call, and someone said, "Do you want to help the truckers?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And I ended up working for a documentary team. And I facilitated the convoy through multiple cities. I didn't end up in Ottawa, but my job was, what is the media saying? And then I'd pour over thousands of hours of footage of what was actually happening. And that, like, I was starting to figure out that something was wrong. But when I actually got to see that with my own eyes, especially speaking at different freedom events in different cities, and watching what was actually happening there, which is the same thing in Ottawa, and then watching the media turn their cameras the other way and only interview the counter protesters. I know Chris and Tamara well. They're lovely people. What do people get wrong? They think that it was violent. It was not. The biggest crimes that were charged were mischief. People think that it was foreign funded, which is a joke. The truth is, it was Canada's biggest peaceful protest that we've ever had. And it was grassroots. And yes, Chris and Tamara started it, but me hopping in my car, that wasn't a phone call from Chris and Tamara. The First Nations from Prince Rupert that I met, that wasn't from Chris and Tamara. This is why they shut it down hard. This was the biggest grassroots movement of Canadians. They figured out that something was going on. Everybody just jumped in. And even the idea that like all these people could be controlled by like the leaders of the convoy, I'm like, no, these are people of their own free will joining this movement because they had enough.
I feel bad because at that time I was working for the government. I didn't know any better. I knew all it was causing me was a pain in the ass because I lived on the highway, so I had to get there to go to work. That type of thing. The Freedom Convoy. So I lived in Fort Erie at the time, and the Freedom Convoy's like convoy was all the way down to the border. And people don't know that it wasn't just Ottawa. The entire highway all the way to Ottawa was the convoy. And that's something that a lot of people didn't understand. But at the time, it was, again, the media narrative of these people bad, they're doing things wrong. This isn't how. What was something that, like, the messaging was very much like they're doing things wrong, but how was it wrong? That's what I'm trying to figure out. How was, like,
Yeah.
how did they brainwash us into thinking it was wrong?
Well, the messaging was that they were Russian funded white supremacist Nazis. Like, that's how far they took it.
Mm.
And then, so what was wrong? They, I remember listening to the truckers on the PA systems, and someone would swear, and they would say, "No, no, 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 nobody swear. Like, there's children here." And you know what? It should have been violent,
Mm.
considering what the government did to us. And you have a bunch of people that lost their jobs, they lost relatives, they, like, horrendous things happened to people. There's no reason why it shouldn't have been violent, but it wasn't. People kept each other in check. They made sure that people weren't violent, that people weren't, like, abusing drugs and alcohol. They helped homeless, they fed homeless. There was less garbage, less crime when they were in downtown Ottawa. If people said that they were, like, scared, I'm like, that's your perception. Like, you weren't there. If you ever actually set foot on the grounds, you would see what it actually was. The lies about them blocking ambulances, they always made sure that they had a path for emergency vehicles to go through. So that was also a lie. And then shutting down the bridge. Well, the millions of dollars that caused by shutting down the bridge. Well, let's talk about the billions that were lost by shutting down businesses for 2 years. If you want to talk, if that's your concern, fair enough, then let's talk about the greater evil and the
Mm.
big hit to the economy, because I can guarantee you it wasn't that bridge.
The That was the biggest shift that I saw come out of COVID. Was we lost so much in terms of small and medium sized businesses. Like, it was as if the monopolies finally won for once. Was that kind of where you're going for?
Oh, 100%. I just interviewed the food professor on my podcast, and we talked about, even just in terms of food prices right now, there's the eradication of the middle class right now. It's true. We have people using food banks, and then the ultra wealthy. That's what happened during COVID as well. Like, let's talk about that. That's
The
what's
biggest
happening.
thing the biggest thing I saw was, how could you allow somebody to go to Walmart but not allow them to go to their local drugstore or something like that? It was
Yeah.
I now starting my own business because I'm sick of the conglomerates. I'm sick of the government. I'm sick of all of it, and I'm paying out the ass in my taxes for this bullshit. But I understand now what was lost, and I just want to, like, tell our audience, like, we've always had monopolies. We've always had these giant companies taking advantage of us, lobbying Ontario or lobbying Ottawa for the exact same thing we have now. We literally have laws to stop monopolies, but we never use them. Um, so how did we get Carney out of all of that?
Hmm. Carney was Trudeau's economic advisor, so he's not someone new.
Mm-hmm.
He knows Christina Freeland intimately, and I think this was a plan that was in place for a very, very long time. And the reason that he was advising Trudeau is to make sure that the policies were put in place for him to be able to take that role. And the reason that he was deeply invested in what happened in Canada during that time is, my personal opinion is that he is not here for Canada. He is here for his net zero agenda and his net zero investments through the Brookfield Corporation. And we see that through all the policy decisions that he's making right now. And unfortunately, like, why did we elect him? uh, we were finally at a point where Canadians understood that the Liberal Party is not benefiting Canada. Justin Trudeau has to go. And we were just about to finally tip the scales in over a decade. And Mark Carney swooped in. And unfortunately, I think that Canadians vote on very superficial metrics. His resume is not a superficial metric, but they like his tone of voice. They like his tone of voice. They like how he presents himself. They like what he's saying, but they're not looking at the policies. They're not looking at his 103 conflicts of interest. They're not looking at the outcomes from his policies. And that's how we got him. And to be fair, I can't really blame Canadians because our media is so broken, but also so is our parliamentary system. So if you're watching CBC, CTV, CBC, you are not getting the news. You are not getting unbiased media. They're paid for by the Liberal government, and they uphold the Liberal government no matter what they do. But let's say you go a step further. Let's say you go beyond the news, and you're like, I'm going to watch a CPAC video. Which who actually does that other than like crazy politics like me, right? Okay, so you watch a CPAC video, and what do the Liberals say? We're the fastest growing economy in the G7. Life has never been more affordable. That is a lie. That is just a bold-faced lie. So that means you have to go another step deeper and actually do your research. But people are so tribalized right now. They're not going to look at right-leaning media. They're not going to look at independent media. They think they've done their due diligence. They didn't, but they think that they did. And that's why we're stuck here. The media is the worst thing to ever happen to Canadians right now.
Did you take a hit when Bill C-18 came in?
It's hard to say. It is so all over the place. Like,
I just mentioned that because when it did come in finally, it wasn't until this year, but I noticeably saw my metrics tank. And I don't know if that was an algorithm change or if that was the government finally clamping down.
To be honest, as someone that does marketing and digital media, most people that think that they're being censored and shadow banned actually just need a better content strategy. And it's usually just that, that's good news because you can fix that. But I know friends like Jasmine Lane and Moose on the Loose, for example, that have very, very tight content strategies. They're very, very niche. So there's no reason why they shouldn't just continue to grow. And their views have been cut in half. So a lot of the fluctuations that I have, for example, is because I'm a little too Joe Rogan-ish. We talk about a variety of topics. So that's going to tank me right out of the gate. It's more about the strategy, but it's going to get worse for everybody. I think that's a very scary series of censorship bills that they're putting forward.
Yeah, because I'm trying for a Diary of a CEO, kind of looking into people's, because I don't like niching down. I'm too complex of an individual to be content with only talking about one subject.
I hear you. Do you want to hear my answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't want to grow quickly, then that's fine. Okay. But if you do want to grow faster, you're going to have to really, really niche down. And then when you're bigger, then you can expand. If you're cool with taking like the long path, then just keep doing it. But yeah, I don't like that advice either. I'm a very ADHD individual. I'm very permissive with what I want to talk about. And I do that absolutely knowing it throttles my reach. It will every time.
It does make me feel better that it's just the long path. Like I since I started this, I've known I had something. I just don't know what it is. I just been continuing on. And somehow I end up with 30,000 followers across all my socials and being like, I don't know how I got here, but I'm just going to continue.
It's awesome.
So, yeah. That was the biggest hurdle, was consistency, doing it every day, understanding that it's something you have to put your effort into. It's not something I take lightly either. Like I spend a lot of time making sure I'm pushing the content in the right spaces. I'm publishing everywhere. Thank God for Rumble to be able to publish in one spot and it propagate elsewhere. And then I'm even looking at Flightcast, which is the Diary of a CEO's new software. But I'm getting tired of SaaS software especially seeing as I can build it myself. Do you think that's going to take a hit in the future, SaaS software as well?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
So the my whole thing is software is so cheap. Like I can build it. I'm building it right now. Like my AI is building me software right now. Fun fact: I'm starting a site that launches for ammo boxes, custom made
Oh,
ammo boxes. Um, just to plug myself. But these things can be thrown up in an instant and connected in an instant that like I worry that if I go in and build something that's somebody wants to use, they'll just go and rip it off eventually and I'll lose all
yeah.
my stream of income. Um,
Yeah, that's why your brand is your most important asset. And there's a timeline for that. So this gift and curse that we have of social media right now, there's a window. This thing is not going to last forever,
mhm.
especially short form social media. We're what I call like the golden age of social media. Um, what they want is for us to eventually all be on meta glasses. That's actually the direction. That's what Gary Vee talks about all the time. And when you have meta glasses, if you're no longer on a phone, there will be no more scrolling. So you won't be discovering people. So that's happening. The meta glasses will just show you what the algorithms think that you want to see. And the other thing that will happen, and we are already seeing it now, is this tsunami of content because people can create it so quickly and a lot of it's fake and a lot of it's AI generated. When that moment comes, not only will people just be so sick of social media, they'll just be like, ew, I don't want, this isn't fun anymore. Um, you won't be able to be.
If you're a podcaster or a video creator, this is the all-in-one AI video editor you've been looking for. I've been using Async since day one, and it's amazing to watch it progress into a complete powerhouse for creators. Especially for people like me who, well, can't edit for shit. Async leverages AI to give you total control over your video. You can record, edit, generate clips, add subtitles, and even dub your content in over 15 languages. Plus, it lets you upscale your footage and easily repurpose your content for different platforms, all without ever having to switch between different tools. It's truly a game changer. So if you want to streamline your workflow and make your editing process painless, check out async.com today. The link is in the description below.
Discoverable. So when that time comes, they're not going to be buying from people that are brand new because they're like, I don't even know if this is a real human. They'll be buying from people that they already know, like, and trust, aka the brands that already exist. They're like, I don't know who to tell. I'm just going to go to Karla's channel. I'm just going to go to the Weird Canadian, right? So this is the window to capitalize on content and brand building. If you don't right now, I think you're dead out of the gates when this time comes.
How much longer do you think we have left?
I don't know. I hope 10 years, but look at the pace of AI, right? It could be 2 years. Things are moving
The things I
insane.
can do today, I couldn't do 6 months ago. Like my eventual goal. So the goal of this channel is to eventually become a new type of media company that protects the creative. Because I'm a big movie and anime and TV show fan, and I'm so sick of cancellations for the sake of cancellations. Like Netflix is like, if you have a successful show, you get one season, and then we're going to cancel you because you cost too much to bring on the for the second season. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to flip that script. We need to have companies that are prioritizing the free content and then monetizing the collectibles, the in-person events, that kind of thing. So eventually I want to turn this in. I'm going to have TV shows eventually too, but eventually I want to turn this into a actual media company that prioritizes getting the content out there, because we are a collection of stories. I think my experience growing up with anime and really having that message of you can do anything, you are the hero of your own story, and then getting into the complexities of slice of life and romance and then psychological, like it had so many avenues that I was able to go down and understand myself that I think gave me a good basis for morality. And I don't think we have that anymore. What do you want to come from the future?
More and more, I'm just kind of living my life in like this analog way. I'm embracing the tech while it's here to a point. I'm also experiencing that like digital burnout myself. Like I don't necessarily want to go faster and faster and faster. It doesn't feel good in my body. And I see again with like clients in the market, people don't really want to go that fast either. And we're all different, right? Some people's brains just work a little bit different. So I find myself continuing on like normal, working with clients, building out the podcast, preparing for the best and the worst at the same time. I kind of have like one foot in the matrix, one foot out, meaning like, oh, it's doomsday and everything's going to be fine. Like, I just don't know. So I don't pretend like I have a crystal ball, but I'm preparing for all scenarios, including I can't access the internet anymore. Then what? Then what do I do? Which is a very big reality for me as a political commentator in the independent media space. Like I might get digitally erased here soon. I don't know.
Do you have a Starlink? Like, are you on Starlink or out there?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm really hoping the way Elon took over X and made it Twitter and made it X. I'm hoping that he takes the same approach, that if people starts getting censored, that he's just gonna not worry about it. On the flip side to that, I don't like monopolies. I don't like that he's going to monopolize the space above our heads to give us internet. But at the same time, it's like I understand that we still need to talk. So I have a backup. So I'm running on Bell, but if they cancel me for whatever reason, because my partner doesn't like me saying this, but I'm fairly certain I'm going to prison if they bring in those bills to talk about or against free speech and hate speech, because I just speak my mind. And if you don't understand my context, yeah, it sounds really bad. Is that a concern for you?
Yeah. Well, Mark Carney keeps saying that we are more European than we are Canadian. So like, let's look at what Europe is doing. I just did a story on the rape gang inquiry, for example, and there was one woman who did a tweet about this particular abuse case, and her tweet landed her 30 months in prison, where the rapist himself walked free. That's what Canada wants to do. Canada is emulating countries like the UK, and I think these policies are horrendous. When I talk to my lawyer friends that are in this space, they're like, nah, it's not going to get too bad. But I see people going to jail. So,
well, even just the demonization, like I saw, so I was watching closely the Brexit. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I just want to understand it. Then I saw everything that was happening with Trump in the US, and I'm like, oh shit, Canada's going to go the reverse direction of what's happening in the US right now. Because the US, as bad as Trump is, I get hit. People don't like him. He's doing the correct thing. He's fixing a lot of the corruption. He's making sure that the systems are breaking so that people can see that they're breaking. And I just saw us solidify ours.
Yeah, and he is America first.
Yeah.
And he's anti-globalism. He's an interesting man. When he first got elected, I was a big fan with everything that he was saying. Now he's definitely doing a lot of things contradictory to what he promised, like anti-war. But he's not all bad. He's like America is in better standing than Canada is in terms of like housing, food, security, all of these things. Canada is deepening its dependence, and there's nothing wrong with like creating more partnerships, but we are weak, we are dependent, we are not building strong internal systems. Like it's a joke when they talk about like Canada as a sovereign nation. It's the furthest thing from it. The only reason we're as good as we are right now is because of our relationship to the United States, as well as our proximity to the United States. Even the whole idea of going to war with the United States, they're our army. They protect us.
Mhm.
So it's been foolish right out of the gates. The best thing to shoot for would be a strong and free North America. Like, it's a no-brainer.
The one thing that I've seen is like our lack of infrastructure has really crippled us, because we have one highway going across every single province. We have all our railway stations are decrepit. Our airline industry is just a joke. We're paying for ESG fuel, which, guess where that comes from? Yeah, Mark Carney and Brookfield. You talk to somebody who's
There's something that a lot of Canadians say. A friend of mine say it the other way. Like, we really can't complain. Like, there are countries so much worse than us. While it's true that there are third world countries in poorer standing than Canada, the thing that we're not addressing is not just, well, things could be better. It's that Canada is in active decline, where a lot of these third world countries are on their way up. There's zero reason for Canada to be in free fall right now. So it doesn't matter if we're better. We're going down. I was just in El Salvador this November, and it is so exciting to be there. It's a third world country, and every day it gets better. It gets safer. There's more investment, more money, more things coming in, and Canada's so obviously going downhill.
I spoke to some people there was two educators in the US who have built out schools using old computers from their schooling system. They just pay them, and then they bring them down to, where was it? Now I can't think of it, but they bring it down to a third world country, and they're so involved with, they're so excited just to have computers, for one thing, but to be able to educate themselves a little bit differently about how technology works. They're building these third world countries are amazing in terms of building shit. My family runs a not-for-profit out of Cuba, and every time I'm down there's some jerry-rigged contraption that somebody's made to just do something that I'm like, we could go buy that at the store.
Yeah.
It's just, when you have nothing, it's kind of interesting to see what people build. No preconceptions, just, hey, I need this, so they're building it. Do you think Canada's going like that?
Absolutely. And it's very interesting to me that we would ever support a socialist party when you have countries like Cuba. Like, it's just like you described what happens. We know exactly what happens.
I even watched the trigonometry one the other day about how Israel had a communist settlement in the 1970s and how badly it went as well.
Yeah, they said that was the purest example of communism, and how you could do it well and pure, and eventually everybody opted out of it. Nobody actually liked living that way. That's an interesting one, because it talks about, I think it was the biology of communism. There's the economic perspective, right? But if you are not incentivized to work, you don't. Obviously, everything is going to fall apart. So all systems can get out of hand. Of course, capitalism can get out of hand, but the free market is the best system that you can possibly have. Yeah, it's foolish.
I fight against UBI every day, because I know exactly where we'll end up with UBI. Fun fact, the UBI Works user, or the advocacy group, they're run by a tech entrepreneur. And I wrote an in-depth article about how I honestly don't think he understands what he's pushing. But after that article, he does, and he blocked me on everything. So I know immediately where his mind went. As soon as I published that article, he's like, I know I'm doing wrong, but I'm going to do it anyways. So it just goes to show that socialism is fine and dandy when it's meant in good faith. But when you know you're doing wrong and still doing it, that's not socialism. That's just I don't know. That's just mean altogether. Sorry.
The only thing that trips me up though is AI, because AI will take away a lot of jobs. So when Elon says there has to be some kind of UBI, I agree, because people won't have jobs. But this is the scary thing. I can't see that being a utopia. I see that leading to massive problems. If people don't have a reason to get up in the morning out of bed and they can't achieve anything anymore, it's not going to go well.
That was where I was at with the government. I really felt down, like I couldn't do anything, like I couldn't change, I couldn't make change, I couldn't do anything until I stepped away and kind of did my own thing. I really didn't understand what my purpose was supposed to be. The thing I have to say on AI, so I'm what's considered like a power user in AI. These tools are so fucking stupid. Um, Anybody who says within the next 2 years there's going to be massive job loss, I combat immediately. We're at least 5 to 10 years before we're getting software development level AI, like where you could just say, "Hey, build me this," and it's secure, it works the way you're intended it, it's scalable, the code's neat and tidy. Like we're so far away from that right now. And yes, I don't have access to the top tier models, but even the route that they're taking to AGI and ASI, I believe is incorrect. They're leveraging large language models, which are just prediction machines. And I came across a person, her name's Mac, and she runs a group that talks about how AI is just a mirror of yourself. Everything you put into it, it understands, it's learning it, and then it's just a prediction machine based off of that. So when you're starting to feel a human in this machine, it's just you reflected back at yourself. I think I bypass that because I don't listen to people. So I don't listen to my AI and I just go and test the solutions. But I can say without a doubt, like there is no way it's going to take any more jobs than you are a pencil pusher. If you're somebody who just takes a Excel spreadsheet and puts in numbers, that's going to go away. But if you're somebody who builds something, somebody who is actively working to create something, those jobs are not going anywhere anytime soon. And I just actually talked to a robotics CEO the other day, and he believes that even for robots, we're about 10 to 20 years out before they take on the nuanced jobs of repairing machines. We're just not there yet. And I worry that the scare is going to bring in the problematic systems before we need them.
We just don't know. There's definitely benefits. We're going to be able to cure diseases faster. I use AI in my business all the time, but personally, I wish it stopped, but it's not going to. So I do use it. And the reason I use it is because I understand that there, at least for the marketing company, not the podcast, there's an end date there, because eventually I think I will be replaced. And the reason we can't stop is not because it's useful, it's because it's going to be used for war. And the people that have the most powerful AIs are the ones that are going to win the wars. So it's not going to go away. I wish it would. I would be happy just to go back into analog, but I unless something really bad happens, that's not happening anytime soon.
For somebody who's been enhanced by AI, I'm really happy that it's here. I don't think I could do half the things I do nowadays without it. But I understand the fear of replacement. It's just how you use it. Like I really try and emphasize that you need to be the one that reviews it. You need to be the one that gives it the ideas, and don't just let it do it yourself, because
100%.
you're going to feel more and more useless the less you use your brain. Do you think the schooling system has attributed to us in terms of lack of understanding to what's going on in the world today?
Our school system is so broken. I have a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old, and actually getting a glimpse into the sheer amount of time that they just waste in school on special days and discipline and blah, blah, blah. Then there's all the ideological nonsense that they put into school instead of just teaching them math and science and things that we actually need to learn. We have really cherry picked what they're going to learn in terms of like history, for example. So, as just like one example, every single history class in school, my kids learn about residential schools. And I'm not saying they shouldn't learn about that as part of our history, but there's a lot to learn with history. So not only do they just hammer them with that every single year, they also infuse that topic into language arts and into something else. So they're missing out on so many other things that they should also be learning. They're learning, gendered issues and like all these other things that I don't think are relevant to school. We should just go back to like the basics, reading, writing, how to do your taxes, how to start a business. So all of that is broken. And I hate the social media ban. I think it's nonsense. I've done a video on it. I think it has zero to do with protecting children. As a parent who also works in social media, I understand the dangers. I prevented my kids from having social media. I got them a flip phone. If you do your job as a parent, it's not hard. Eventually, they got a smartphone. We had boundaries, we had rules because they're children. At one point, they broke the rules, they got punished. They went back to the flip phone. Like, if you're an involved parent and there's all kinds of safety measures on all of the apps. I don't want to go too much into a tangent on this, but my problem is now kids don't have access to good information. So yes, were they seeing a lot of garbage that they shouldn't? Yes. But the kids are much smarter than a lot of people my age and older, because they're also watching Joe Rogan. They're also in chat rooms. They're also on independent media sites. And now to take that away from teenagers, and then they're only getting this government school indoctrination, that's the point. That, and the fact that people don't realize it's not just the kids having to scan their face to access the internet. It's all of us. The social media ban is not for children. It's for you. It's for the parents. And that's what people really aren't understanding.
Because I am ID verified on a lot of sites, because if you're a content creator, you have to be, unfortunately. I'm okay with giving it over when I want to. But I used to be a troll. I used to hide. I used to do not good shit on the internet. But the internet used to be a safe place for you to do that and have the repercussions right in your face if you do it wrong. So I completely understand when it comes to having that anonymity. It was great. The one concept that I'm trying to really get into right now is the internet was supposed to be our playground. It was supposed to be the place you could fall on your face, get up and figure it out. And somewhere along the way, we've bled it into the reality of, if you do it online, it means you've done it in real life. I have a book coming out on this eventually. But yeah, do you see that clampdown as reality? Like, I don't know how to phrase that.
Well, there's word and thought policing, and words are not violence, but we treat it as such. And it's selective. It's ideological. It's 1984. You're allowed to say this. You're allowed to have this thought, but not that one. I'm a free speech absolutist, even with the harm, even with the bad. Your ability to speak and write freely is your most important right, because without that, you lose all your other rights.
For people who think freedom is a right, not a privilege, what do you say to that?
Do you want to live in a dictatorship? I guess I would just have to ask that with a question. Now, I'm not the kind of human being that needs to be taken care of. I'm not a victim. A lot of people love to be victims. And I'm not talking about people that physically are disabled and need taken care of. I mean, weak people in 2026 that want the government to tell them what to do. They want the government to handle all their problems. They look at the social credit system in China and they think, oh, well, that looks like such a good thing to do. I am not that kind of person. I'm a very capable person. Um, I think human beings can achieve incredible things, that they don't need to be dependent on a ever growing bloated bureaucracy. So people that love that love dependence, that love not to think for themselves, that love to be told what to do, I can see how they would think that freedom is a problem. But they like to be taken care of, and that's just not me. And
To the yeah.
I think people, when they actually take more agency and personal responsibility for themselves as a whole, they do better. We would all do better if people had that attitude.
I'm the version of that. I remember back working for the government. I thought this was what you did. The government will take care of you. I had a nice salary, benefits, the whole 9 yards, and it ate me inside. And fun fact, my mother worked for the Ministry of Finance, and just before COVID, about 2018, she ended up contracting Lyme disease. And she went through all the steps of, here's how you get an accommodation. She got a doctor's note, everything to showcase that she just needed some help. And the help was working from home, doing her job, because she's on a computer all day. All she needed to do was be able to work from home. And this was 2 years before COVID. And they basically showed her the door. And this was when Ford came in and made it illegal to sue the government. I have a whole expose on Ford and his problems, but I have an expose on every single province and their problems as well. But just the fact that she went through everything that they said she should do, she'd have a great life, and to be at the end of it, because she only needed 10 years left to fulfill her duty, and she would have been able to retire, and they just said nope. And she did fight. The unions are, oh my God, the unions are just as bad as the ministries. If you think the union's going to fight for you, people, it's not going to happen. Their whole purpose is to just prop up what's already there. And it was bad. But there's a lot of people who work for the government, and they're going to have to sacrifice their livelihood to fix the problem. Mm-hmm. How do we get to those people?
I did. I closed my business and I moved, and the amount of clients that I've had who left their jobs as physicians and nurses and teachers and lawyers just to be able to speak freely. Yeah, it's hard. But what's harder is living in an authoritarian dictatorship. That's harder. So there's this false sense of safety that people have. You're gonna experience hard either way, and people are just delaying it when they think that they'll be protected and taken care of. No, that's false. That has an end date. It's not going to last forever.
Yeah, I just wish they could see it. I do want to talk a little bit more about the off-grid living, because how did you get your pilot's license? First off, did you do?
My husband does. I'm flirting with the idea. We'll see. Okay.
Because the 1,000 hours is what is throwing me off. I'm like, I don't think I could put 1,000 hours into that.
Yeah, it's not easy to get your pilot's license. So I've been on the fence. He's got it. We have a plane. I think I only really want it if he has a heart attack or it's like World War III. I'd love to just be on the other side of it and just know how to do it. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% if I'm willing to put myself through the pain and the terror of learning how to fly. We'll see. I'm thinking about it right now. My 17-year-old is looking at getting hers, so I might do it with her. See how it goes.
Do you think more people should move out to the middle of nowhere and try and make it on their own?
No, it's incredibly difficult. There's no way that I could do it without my redneck bush husband who's incredibly hardworking. There's no way. It's really, really hard. So that's the thing when it comes to like living a more sovereign life, that path is very unique to the individual. For some people that just means mass amounts of bitcoin, other people that means moving to Mexico, other people just getting their own job, some people investments, some people moving to the country. Like I can't stand the comment like, oh, must be nice. I'm like, do you know how much work and money it costs to like live here? It's crazy. It's crazy, especially like on an island and ice roads. It's not easy living. But for us, it's the best. Like if the world fell apart tomorrow, we're talking about Mad Max, the electrical grid goes down. Pure chaos, the city's on fire. Treadways are going to be fine. Like I like knowing that. Um, it's not for everybody though. It's nice, but
Even moving out to the small town that I'm in, this isn't our end goal because I want to be in the middle of a forest. I want to be like you, essentially, like off grid. Dealing, I am more online. Like I'm a child of the internet. I like to be online, but Elon must solve that problem, and solar has also solved the electricity problem. But even just moving out to a small town, we don't have DoorDash, we don't have Uber, we don't have like you need your own vehicle.
yep.
You need to be a little bit more self-sufficient. And living on an island, our food is expensive.
Yep.
So having your own garden, hunting, fishing, that kind of thing is something you need to look into just to help you get by. Not that we do. She doesn't like fish and she doesn't want me to go kill anything. But I am learning. I have yet to go hunting yet. I have all of my rifles. I'm just waiting for somebody to teach me because I am a prepper as far as anybody's concerned. I just like to be ready.
It's incredibly empowering knowing that you have these kinds of skills. And like talk about like beliefs that people have. Like it I think some people think that if there was an emergency, they'll just go to their friend's house. Like I remember asking my husband one day, I'm like, okay, shit's hitting the fan. Who are we letting in? He's like,
Mm.
no one, no one. Like if that's actually like happening, like you're gonna go through your reserves, and you have to be able to rely on yourself, and you want to be like even in small communities, you like we've just become so dependent. Somebody else will take care of me. Oh, you got a supply? No, you need to bring value to the group in some way, and people aren't really thinking about that, or they're thinking like it'll never get that bad. When we lived in Nicaragua, we met a lot of people that fled Venezuela. Like these things can happen overnight. Like the truth is, when you talk about being a prepper, you don't need World War III. You don't need a comet. The only thing that needs to happen for this kind of scenario is the electricity gets taken out. That's it. People will die if the electricity
Mhm.
gets taken out. So if you don't have some basic survival skills, like you're in trouble.
I got lucky because she's a nurse, so I don't have to worry if I hurt myself while doing all of this. At least I have somebody to take care of me. Um, this is a good part to leave off on. So just for our audience out there, who are you? Where can people find you? And any parting words?
Come check out the Sovereign Sphere podcast. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Rumble, Substack, all the places. And we talk about the systems and structures that are impacting your freedom and solutions for it. We bring on pretty incredible guests in politics and finance and investments and culture who are leading the charge. So give me a follow over there, the Sovereign Sphere, on all the channels. And I don't know, it's these are wild times. I think what I would leave your audience with is put more attention on the things that you can influence, and the things that you can influence, it it's bigger than you think. Like if you just want to take care of like your peace and your family and your money, like do it. But when I say that, it doesn't mean that you can't influence big things like politics. Like I see it all the time. Just don't get wrapped up in like, the global stuff or unfixable problems. Like I'm going to save the West or stop globalism. Like, well, you're probably not. So just protect your peace in that way. There's a lot of things that you can do to get yourself to a better, more sovereign state. You just got to act on them.
Helping out your community goes a long way, and I'm finding that out in real time. So everybody out there, please reach out to Karla if you need anything. I will make sure everything is down in the descriptions down below. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the bullshit I'm supposed to tell you. And to everybody out there, thank you for listening, and stay weird.